Now, what a weekend of Premier League football that was. Let's talk about it. Hi guys, welcome back to the video. So today's video is going to be my football show, and we got a very packed weekend of Premier League football to talk about. And what a weekend it was. We'll get into it in like the next clips. We'll get into the table now, but first, please make sure you like and subscribe and turn on post notifications. Also check the playlist down below, which will be linked in the description down below. And if you do not want to watch certain parts of the video, which I mean you should watch the whole video in my opinion. If you want to watch the bit where your team might be on, just check the description. I have all the timestamps in the description for when like bits like that start. But we've got an action-packed weekend of Premier League football to talk about, and let's waste no time and get straight into it. And this team is in it. I'm wearing the New Forest third shirt. What a shirt, by the way. I might review the third shirts in a later video down the line. Anyway, let's get into the Premier League table after the weekend, and it's changed a lot. So Arsenal are still top of the league, but only by 2 points after their draw against Southampton. Man City obviously 2 points behind them, and then Spurs are 3 points behind Man City, with Newcastle a further 2 points behind them. And then it gets tight there between Chelsea and Man United in 5th and 6th, and then Fulham on 18 points, getting points on the board really early, but I feel like they could still fall down the table, and I think they'll still probably end up there. I think they'll survive, but they'll end up like 15th, 16th or something. But then you've got Liverpool, you've got Brighton, you've got West Ham after the win against Bournemouth, they're 10th. Brentford, Everton in 12th, 13th Palace, 14th Bournemouth, 15th Villa after their win, and second Steven Gerrard. We'll get into that video. We'll do a video on that separately. And then Southampton, Leicester, Leeds, Wolves and Forest at bottom. But if you look at it, between 9th and 20th there's 6 points. 6 points is 2 games won. It's just crazy. I mean, I don't think the table's really going to form out until like after the World Cup break in December and January and that. But let's get into the first game, which will be like reviewing Forest Liverpool, and then we're going to Man City, and then we're going to Arsenal, and then Spurs Brighton, then Chelsea Man United to round off the video. So an action-packed video. Tyrone Awoniyi's 55th minute goal was enough for Forest to steal all 3 points against Liverpool. Let's get into the game. Now, I thought we really defended well. We were better than we have been in previous games. I mean, overall the defence has been better than it was against Fulham, Bournemouth, Leicester. So I think we've shown improvements defensively. I mean, we've only conceded 2 in 4 games. One of them was a penalty, and one of them we should do better on from one long range. I mean, Liverpool, they weren't good, obviously. They were missing players and that, but Van Dijk had 3 chances which really should have scored. Dean Henderson was absolutely fantastic. The defence was fantastic. Midfield was fantastic. Virtually every Forest player on the pitch was fantastic. That just some sort of performance. I mean, we really needed that, and I think it'll just give the lads a bit of confidence in that. And we had shots on target, which we haven't had this season, and it was like a very positive performance. It was 3 points in the right direction, but we said that, and then we've gone and lost and just gone on a losing streak and that. But I mean, just looking at the fixtures that we've got Arsenal away next, and then we've got Brentford and Crystal Palace at home, with Spurs at home in the cup sandwich in between that. So I mean I think there's loads of positives to take from that performance, and I think if we just climb the table now and just those Brentford and Palace, if we get 6 points out of those, I think all we definitely need, or we can't lose those games. Right, I'd take 3 points against Brentford and then the draw against Palace, but I mean, you take 6 points, wouldn't you? But Liverpool now, you look ahead to Liverpool, the day that I record this tonight, they've got Ajax in the Champions League, and then I don't know who they've got. Leeds at home this weekend, and I think Leeds at home, they're struggling themselves, so they could get Jesse Marsh sacked, so that could be interesting to watch out for. There could be quite a couple of managerial sackings in this week. Obviously Gerrard's gone and then Emery's come in, and now Jesse Marsh could go if Leeds lose to Liverpool. Anyway, let's get to Man City. Manchester City won by 3-1 against Brighton. Erling Haaland brace and Kevin De Bruyne goal, and then Trossard getting goal for Brighton. And this is a very crucial 3 points of Man City, as Arsenal dropped points away to Southampton, which we'll discuss about later. But Erling Haaland, what a guy, what a robot. Honestly, how do you even stop the guy? He's just such a robot right now. 2 goals, yeah, I didn't really watch the game because I was out, and also it wasn't on TV as well. But Man City, obviously, if you just have a look at the stats, they had 10 shots to Brighton's 8 and 4 on target to Brighton's 2. And I mean, that's where Man City just win games. Shots on target, they're just clinical, where they will take their chances. And I mean, I think against Liverpool, say it was a slip up, but they bounced back they bounced back from that Liverpool loss. Obviously, they should have played Arsenal in midweek last week, but obviously that got cancelled. Brighton, I mean, they drew to us 0-0. And then they were good in that game. They created loads of chances, but it was just not being clinical. If Brighton were a clinical side, they would be top 4 right now. They would have beat us, and they would. It's just the fact that since Potter left, they haven't won a game under De Zerbi, and their lack of finishing just worries me for them, because I think. It's alright having shots on goal, but you've got to have a finisher that can finish those chances, that can score those chances, can put them in the back of the net. And for me, at the moment, Brighton don't seem to have one of those that can put a guy that can put the ball in the back of the net, other than Trossard. But a 3-1 win for Man City, a very crucial one. Obviously now they're 2 points off Arsenal. Now, Tottenham versus Newcastle. What a win that was for Newcastle. Newcastle's season have been absolutely amazing. Fair play to them. They deserve to be in top 4. They should have got something out of Liverpool. They went toe to toe with Man City at home at St James's Park and got a 3-3 draw. But they're just insane at the moment. Like, I mean, they should have got they've got a 2-1 win against Tottenham, and I mean, I think the goal's a bit controversial. Obviously it's controversial, but I think it's not a foul. I think Wilson's just trying to get the ball, and he just accidentally runs into Lloris, and I think it's Lloris's fault more than him. And obviously it was a good finish from lobbing all the Tottenham defenders and putting it into the back of the net. And then Miguel Almiron, how good has this guy been? 5 goals in 5 games. Since Jack Grealish said that I think it was Bernardo Silva, or it was like Riyad Mahrez or something, but it's either Bernardo Silva or Riyad Mahrez, said that he played like Miguel Almiron. Almiron stood that person and scored loads of goals. He's worked on himself, and I think he's a really good player at the moment, Almiron is, and so are Newcastle. And I think they're even without Bruno Guimaraes for that game. Oh no, he did play. Okay, I didn't think he played, but yeah, Bruno Guimaraes, what a signing that guy has been. A really crucial signing for Newcastle, and personally I think they could get Europe this season with Liverpool being not on form. I think Newcastle, if Liverpool don't watch their back, maybe Newcastle and someone like West Ham could like still get into Europe. And then Harry Kane obviously got his mandatory goal against Tottenham, and I mean 2 defeats in a row for Conte at the moment. Obviously Man United played absolutely amazingly when they played them and lost 2-0, and I think they were poor. Man United just tactically were brilliant under Ten Hag, and we'll go into tactics in a minute because we're going to do the Man United game in the next clip. But where do you go now for Tottenham? And I mean, they've got this weekend they've got Bournemouth away, so that they need to get 3 points in that game. Chelsea versus Manchester United ended 1-1. Jorginho penalty and Casemiro in the last minute, 92+4. It might not have been the most exciting game to watch, like football wise, in like goals and that, I mean, but tactically this game was absolutely fantastic. Man United dominated the first 30 minutes, and they created a lot. They created 13 chances to Chelsea's 6, and they had 6 on target to Chelsea's 2. And I mean, then Potter makes a tactical change to like try stop Man United, and then Ten Hag makes a tactical change. Potter makes a tactical sub, and it was just absolutely amazing to watch, like tactical wise. And I mean, Ten Hag, since he come to United, he's shown that he's a really good manager tactically. Against Spurs, they absolutely dominated tactical. Like going forward, they had the wing backs pushing on really high forward. They were virtually a front 5 at some points, and they just absolutely. They should have scored more than 2 goals. Hugo Lloris kept the score respectable. It could have been 4-5-0 if it wasn't for Hugo Lloris. And I mean, Chelsea, they obviously drew 1-1 to Man United, and they drew 0-0 to Brentford in this week. And I mean, obviously a penalty. I think it was a penalty, but I think the one thing I moan about, I think the one thing that I'm frustrated about is you see those kind of like shirt pulls, and I think it was a shirt pull anyway, and you see them all game and they don't get given, and then like one gets given. Like, why didn't you give all of them? But then you do get to that situation where there'll be about 5 billion penalties a game if they give all of them. And then Casemiro, what a how an inch over the line, by the way. That was an inch. Man United won't care. They got a deserved point. They probably should have taken more than a point if they were more clinical. I think that's the thing though, United just needs to be a bit more clinical. Like against Tottenham, they had 29 shots, I think it was, and the more clinical, and obviously if Hugo Lloris wasn't in God mode, they would have won that game 5 or 6-0 or something. Anyway, let's get into Southampton versus Arsenal. Now, Southampton versus Arsenal, a very not good point from Arsenal, and if you just straight away, we're going to have a look at the stats. 12 shots to Southampton's 10, 3 on target to 3. I think Arsenal had a lot of shots in the first half which they did not take, and that really punished them in the end, because you've got to take your chances in football. It's all about being clinical. You cannot not be clinical, otherwise you will not win games of football, especially in the best league in the Premier League. It feels so weird having that badge on the shirt, by the way. Anyway, yeah, Arsenal were just not clinical in the first half, and really Southampton were very good in the second half. I think they deserved to get a point in the end. Obviously Xhaka with a very good goal made it 1-0 in the first half, and then Stuart Armstrong levelled it in the 60th minute. And I mean, there was some controversial VAR decision, well, like shirt pull decisions, like if the McTominay foul on Broger's a foul on Saturday, then that one on Jesus is a foul on against Southampton. Yet again, another weekend where VAR is in the spotlight. Go check out the other episode of football, last episode of the football show, where I had a rant on VAR. I might actually clip that and upload it. But Now Southampton, Arsenal got Forest at home and Southampton got Palace away going into this weekend. We'll do predictions. Check out, if you want to see my predictions for this weekend, subscribe to this channel, and the prediction video will be up tomorrow, I think. Yeah, Southampton has got Palace away. That Palace obviously lost 3-0 in the last game, and Arsenal got Forest at home, who beat Liverpool 1-0 in the game in our last game. Other Premier League results on this weekend: Everton 3-0 versus Palace. Everton were very good that game. Calvert-Lewin, Gordon and Dwight McNeil getting the goal, and James Garner got a yellow card. I miss Jimmy Garner. What a player. Everton have got a very good player there in Jimmy Garner. And then Villa beat Brentford in their first game, in their takeover manager's first game. Leon Bailey getting the goal, and Ings set to a brace, and Ollie Watkins. And then Leeds 2-3 Fulham. And I mean, Rodrigo made it 1-0, and then Mitrovic makes it 1-1, and then Dikadova makes it 2-1, William makes it 3-1, and then Somerville gets a goal back in the last minute. But Jesse Marsch is under very good pressure there. And then Wolves 0, Leicester 4. And I mean, what performance by Leicester. They were actually playing football for once. Tielemans, Barnes, Maddison and Vardy all getting the goal there. And then you've got a very controversial game on Monday: West Ham 2, Bournemouth 0, with the cat kicker getting the goal and Saeed Benrahma. That rounds up today's episode of the NFFC Owen football show. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like and subscribe and turn on post notifications. Also, make sure you go check out the playlist of the football show. I think the next episode might discuss all the managerial goings on in the recently in the Premier League, and maybe might delve into Michael Carrick joining Borough. Anyway, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.